So, welcome to the second part of our Scratch tutorial series. In this installment, we delve into the fundamentals of Sprite functionality, empowering you to bring your projects to life with motion, spatial interaction, and sound. Follow along. I am going to guide you through adding sprites, moving them with ease, showing that how you can change their appearance, incorporating with sound effect, and creating simple interactions. By the end of this tutorial, you'll have the skills to craft dynamic projects that captivate and inspire. So let's dive in and unleash your creativity with Scratch. Let's recall the different parts name of Scratch software main window first. So here you can see the top bar we basically call the header of menu bar, where you can find different menu items like file, edit, tutorials, or even the Scratch project's name that you can modify. Then we have this section, we call it for tabs. There are three types of tabs for code, customs, sound. Already this code tabs is selected, so we can see code related option over there, which is called block palette, because we can see different kind of blocks are available like motion, look, sound, events, control, sensing, operators, variables, and many more. We use these blocks to make some action for a specific sprite or even the backdrop. So we have to put this block in some area. This area is called code area. So let's suppose we want to make some action for our sprite. So we have to click this block and then we can drag it over here to make that action. So simple. Then we have another part that we call stage. Stage referring basically the display option. After successfully making any project, you can run it by using this button, this simple green flag button. We call it go. In other hand, we can call it run button or executable button for execution. And beside it we have another button mentioning red one, which basically refer to terminate that program. Now lastly we have another section for sprite pan, properties, and also for backdrop. Here you can see different kinds of features like that is related or interconnected to sprite, and also you can see some changing option for backdrop for your stage. Now let's start coding. Okay, I have already launched this application and I'm currently using the desktop version of Scratch, that is 3.29.1. After launching your application, you'll always see this first sprite will be given by default and it is mentioned like sprite 1. So first of all, let's understand what is a sprite. Sprite is a graphic object that can be programmed to perform various actions and interact with other sprites and the stage too. So sprites are the character, basically we call it magical characters or objects or element that users can see and interact with. So in this tutorial we are going to see some basic fundamentals and basic action that we can take or maybe we can generate for our first project. Okay, so as you can see, for this default sprite we have three different sections. For this code we can add any code from this section to this section by dragging it. Also we have some custom featuring, and in this custom tab you can see for this sprite 1 we have two custom, right? Custom 1 and also custom 2. In this section you can modify this custom, like you can click it, you can drag it in different position, or maybe you can change the color too by using this fill option. Also you can create another custom by just duplicating or maybe creating one or exporting from other directory. And there are other tabs like sounds. You can also see that which sound is provided already by default for different sprite if you're using from the library. I'm going to show you how you can add different sprite obviously. So for this sprite 1 which is a kind of cat, you can see one sound is given like meow. So let's play the sound and let's hear. See, you can also modify by using these options too. It's also possible. So now let's change the sprite name first, and let's give a proper name for this sprite like meow cat. So now it's more meaningful, isn't it? Okay, cool. Now let's see how we can start coding, or maybe how we can make some action. Basically, whenever we make some action by using different codes, we need to click on something. By default, we use this button, the run button, or we call it go. So whenever you run or execute something, your application definitely understands something is going on behind this coding, right? So to understand this series, we have to implement some event. Event basically referring, in coding, it refers to an action or occurrence that happens within a programmer system. So events can be triggered by various sources such as user input, system processes like this button, or external factors too. When an event occurs, it typically initiates a specific response or set of actions defined by the program. So let's suppose whenever we click on this button go, something will happen. So how we can define it? We have to go to directly this event button. Here you can see multiple events are available in this color. Always try to follow the colors that always distinguish with others, especially their block. So if I click on this, when this go button clicked, then something will happen whenever you click on this button. Let's see. There is happening nothing because we haven't initiate or add any action, right? Either. So let's add some action. Like if you click on motion, you'll see some relatable or maybe some features that is related to motion, like this move. So if you click this move block and drag it in this code area, you can see that you can attach it by hovering just below your first event click. If you release it, it will be attached. Now move it both, right? So what will happen? Just try to understand. If you click on this button, now maybe it will move into 10 steps. Let's see. See, it's moving. Also it's moving, right? Whenever you click this button, you can move this sprite. So interesting, isn't it? Also you can modify the value that is given on this block. Like let's suppose I'm going to put 100, then starting execution. Wow, the distance occurs, right? So definitely you have to count the distance. So I'm going to put the sprite in some initial position like 0 in x basis. So you can see directly there are x and y coordinates, which basically refer to the position of a sprite. Okay, by default it is 0 0. If I mention like this way, it will be in the middle of the stage, so we can maximize this screen into full screen like this. So this is basically for any sprite, this is the initial position, that is 0 0, that refers to the coordinate of x-axis and also y-axis. And also you can modify the size from this box, like you can make it 50% size, so it will be smaller than before. Also you can increase the size into 200, so it will be bigger than before. So maybe 100% is good enough. Also you can change the direction, which is already in 90 degree. You can make it in some other degree too. Like if I put 180 degree, so it will go down to, or it will follow some rotation related to the degree, right? The angles. So let's just put it into 90 degree in similar way. Okay, it's good. Then now let's see some interesting fact too. Let's suppose whenever we click this button, it's only go 100% steps, right? 100 steps, sorry. So I'm going to decrease the step size into 20, and let's just put it onto the initial position. Now this time I want to make it more realistic, because only using one costume will not make your project realistic, right? Kind of realistic. So as we have two different costumes, we can change the costume by code. So you have to look for the looks block from here. If we click on it, you can see this next costume block. If we attach it, now just guess what will happen. So simple. It will move 20 steps to forward and also change to the next costume. It has two costumes, always remember. So it will change the costume like in loop. How many times you are going to click on this button flag or green one. So let's just try to understand that what is happening here. See, now it's looking like it's working, isn't it? So the more realistic it will be, it depends on your costume available. Now let's say we want to add another sprite by using this button. We have a button to choose a sprite. By default, if you click on this button, this search option will occur, and we have extra 3 options, like so in total 4 options. First, try to understand what we gonna get if we click on this button, choose a sprite. That means search sprite, the available sprite that is given on this Scratch application library. So if you click on it, you'll see this default sprites that is available in some section. So you can also filter. Okay, so if you hover on any item that is given over there, you can see how many costumes are available for that sprite. Like if you hover on this abbey, you can see different costumes are available, but for this Ammon there is only one custom, so nothing is going on, right? There is no visualization, it depends. Okay, so let's suppose we are going to take this every worker. So just click on it, you'll get it directly on this stage. Now let me put it aside like this, and whenever you click on any sprite, you can see different section will be available for each one. So you can make different coding, or maybe you can put different actions for different sprite. Just try to understand the fact. Okay, so now if let's say we want to remove this coding from this meow cat, and this time we want to do something with this one to make any movement more realistic, because we have customs for this sprite which is 4, so it will be more realistic, isn't it? When we are going to change the custom one by one, it looks like it's working, okay, for this character. So now let's again call a event for this one when this green flag clicked. So we are going to move forward, let's say 10 steps is okay for this. Then when after moving, it will change the costume. So now if we click on this button, we can see by multiple clicking it is moving smoothly. Wow, it's really great, right? So that's how we can make different actions, simple action for this sprite. Now I think you have got that idea how we can code using this block, and it's really interesting. Now let's see another part, that is how we can change this white backdrop into some other backdrop. That facility is also given in this application. Just beside this sprite button, you can see another button available. So if you click on this choose a backdrop, you can set different backdrop, but it depends on your project which one will be more preferable, right? So let's suppose I'm going to add this dessert. so it will be more interesting to see right now. So what will happen if you click on this button? Let's maximize it and let's see the output right now. So I'm going to click this button multiple times and let's see. Wow, now it's looking like a animation, right? It's a kind of animation that we can make. So what if we make it automatically someday? So it will definitely looks like an animation. Also we can put some sound, right? Okay then, thank you so much for watching this tutorial on the fundamentals of Sprite in Scratch. I hope that you found this tutorial helpful in understanding the basic of Sprite programming. Remember, the best way to learn is to practice, so I encourage you always to experiment with the sprites on your own projects. If you have any questions or suggestions for further tutorials, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Happy coding, and I will see you in the next video.